I'll just give you a quick review of the, I've had to write it down. It's the Samsung heat pump tumble dryer. It's a DV90K 6000CX. So it's a 9 kilogram heat pump tumble dryer. And there it is there. The reason why we bought it is because we already had the washing machine. It sounds really crazy, but actually we bought that one because it matches. So we had a perfectly good vented tumble dryer. We replaced it because we wanted it to match. So when you make a decision like that, you start thinking, well, actually, have I made the right decision? Did I waste my money? Or is the much higher cost of the Samsung versus just the normal vented one, is it worth it? Well, there's 4 things I've noticed this does that I like. I'm an engineer, I'm not a tumble dryer expert. I haven't been given this tumble dryer either. I had to pay good money for it, unlike a lot of people that review things. And what I like about it straight away is it uses a lot less power. So I've noticed it uses about 1/3 the power of the previous tumble dryer. And I'm so impressed with that factor, I've actually done a separate video on it, which it's a bit sad actually. I think I should have done more with my day. But anyway, I've proved to myself that it uses a lot less power for the same load. So another thing I like about it is, yeah, you have a tray where you can take the water and tip it out. But like we've done with this, we don't need to do that because I've plumbed it in at the back. So it comes with a pipe, and you just connect it into your waste feed or into a sink. And so that automatically discharges the water as required. So that's the first thing I like about it compared to, and obviously being a heat pump dryer, there's no vent in the back. There you go. So the second thing I like about it is you can also put things in there that don't need to be tumbled. So most clothes will go in here, it'll spin around and it'll tumble dry them. But you do get a rack that comes with it. And so that rack goes inside like that. And that's really good for doing stuff that's really delicate. So you can put your shoes in there, and you can also put things in like really, really delicate wool items that you don't want to be damaged. So you can use it for delicates. It doesn't use very much power. And the other thing I like about it, if I open that, is the fact that it is actually a very efficient heat pump dryer. That there is the heat exchanger, which is connected to a refrigeration compressor in there. And rather than just heat air up like a normal tumble dryer does and throw it out the back, this one warms the air up a little bit, doesn't get very hot, and then passes it through this dehumidifier that condenses out the water. So it's more complicated than the standard tumble dryer, but obviously a lot more efficient. And that's the filter going back in there. And a good consequence of this mechanism is the dryer doesn't get particularly hot. It never gets to the point where it could scorch clothes, which is really good, which means that rack there is never full of clothes. It used to be sat here full of clothes that we're worried about getting scorched in the tumble dryer. But now we've got a heat pump on, everything goes in and it's dried and it's not scorched. There's one more thing I remembered as well, is this thing called mixed load bell. Actually, it's really useful because it means when you're drying, you get certain items that dry quicker than others. And so this detects when your clothes have reached that point, and it just chimes a bell. So you can quickly open it, take the stuff out that's dry, and then leave it to continue drying the things that are heavier, like jeans and towels and stuff like that. So there you go, that's it. Four advantages of this dryer versus a standard vented one. It's got the bell, the mixed load bell that tells you when to do the sifting. It doesn't scorch your clothes because it doesn't get particularly hot, although it does dry them efficiently. It means it's good for delicates, obviously, because you can put your tray inside there. And then obviously it uses a lot less power, something like 1/3 of the power. The only downside is it does take longer to dry. So on a dry where it was a 4 kilogram load, this dryer took 1 hour and 15 minutes to get them dry. Standard vented tumble dryer took 45 minutes. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to spend much money on the device, I'd say buy a cheap vented dryer. It'll be quick and it'll use a lot of power. If you want a dryer that doesn't scorch your clothes, so they last longer, the machine itself uses less power, but you do have that extra half an hour to add on to your drying cycle, then I'd recommend this one. And also that final thing is it says 3 hours 10 minutes there for a drying cycle when you start. That's assuming you're putting 9 kilograms. I mean, 5 thick towels is a 3 kilogram load or a 4 kilogram load. So really, most loads in this machine take between 1 and 1.5 hours. I've hardly ever seen it take 3 hours because I've never loaded it that full. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really good product. It is actually worth the money, which surprised me because we only bought it because it looked nice. So there you go. I'll put another video on showing its actual performance where I measure its energy consumption versus a standard dryer. And I hope that helps anyone else making a decision.